The sun was high in the sky, hot and unforgiving, as Amanda shifted the heavy shopping bags in her hands. The market had drained all her energy. She had spent hours walking through crowded stalls, bargaining with stubborn traders, and making sure she got everything she needed for the week. Her baby, Sophia, had been asleep for most of the trip, strapped to her back with a wrapper. But now, even little Sophia seemed to be getting uncomfortable from all the movement. Amanda sighed in relief when she spotted a taxi parked at the roadside. "Taxi!" she called out, waving one hand while holding her shopping bags in the other. The driver, a middle-aged man with a tired face, nodded and pulled over. "Madam, where are you going?" he asked. "Ikeja," she replied, already reaching for the door. As she got in, she carefully placed Sophia on the seat beside her. Then she loaded her shopping bags into the back seat and shut the door. She was tired. Her legs ached from all the walking, and her head pounded from the noise of the market. But more than anything, she just wanted to unwind. As the taxi started moving, she reached for her phone. She unlocked it and tapped on TikTok. Her page had been slow lately. Very few likes, barely any comments. She scrolled through her feed, her eyes darting from one post to another, looking for something interesting. Then she saw it, a viral challenge. People were jumping on the trend, making funny videos, and getting thousands of likes. Her heart raced. "If I do this one, if it blow," she muttered to herself. Already thinking of how she could recreate the video, she adjusted in her seat, fixing her hair in the front camera, checking angles. She was so deep into planning the video that she didn't even realize when the taxi slowed down in front of her street. "We don't reach, madam," the driver said, still glued to her phone. Amanda nodded absent-mindedly. She reached for her purse, paid the driver, grabbed her shopping bags, and stepped out. The taxi pulled away. Amanda walked to her door, still looking at her phone. She unlocked it, stepped inside, and dropped the shopping bags on the table. Finally, she sighed. She opened her camera, positioned the phone, and went live. "Hey guys, I just got back from the market," she began, smiling into the camera. "Omo, things are expensive, oh, but we move." People started joining her live, dropping comments. She continued talking, excited by the engagement. Then, suddenly, one comment made her stomach drop. "Where is baby Sophia?" Amanda blinked. Her heart started racing. Baby Sophia? Her eyes darted around the room. The baby cot was empty. The wrapper she had used to strap Sophia was on the chair, but Sophia, her baby, was nowhere to be found. She felt her chest tightened as realization hit her like a slap. She had left Sophia in the taxi. Her phone slipped from her hands and crashed onto the floor. "Jesus!" she screamed. Her legs felt weak. She ran to the door, throwing it open, looking left and right like a mad woman. The street was empty. The taxi was gone. Her baby was gone. A cold wave of fear rushed through her body as she let out another scream, this time louder. "My baby! My baby!" The neighbors turned, staring at her in confusion, but Amanda couldn't think. She had forgotten her baby in the moving taxi. Amanda's heart pounded so hard she thought it would burst out of her chest. She stumbled out of her compound, her legs barely holding her up. Her mind was racing. Her baby, her precious Sophia, was in a taxi with a complete stranger, and she had no idea who the driver was or where he had gone. "My baby!" she screamed again, her voice breaking. Neighbors rushed out, alarmed by her cries. "Amanda, what happened?" a woman from the next compound asked. "My baby! I forgot my baby in the taxi!" Amanda sobbed, gripping her head with both hands. Gasps erupted from the small crowd that had gathered. "You forgot your baby?" someone repeated in shock. "How?" Another neighbor frowned. "Were you on your phone?" Amanda felt like the ground should just open up and swallow her. She turned in circles, looking down both ends of the street as if by some miracle the taxi would still be there. But it was gone, completely gone. Her phone was still on the floor inside, but she didn't care. She had to find Sophia. She had to do something, just anything. The taxi you took, do you remember the plate number? A man asked. Amanda shook her head. Her mind had been too buried in her phone to even notice the taxi properly. The murmurs around her grew louder. Some people had pity in their eyes, others judgment. You mean you took a taxi with your baby, but you were too busy looking at your phone? A woman scoffed, shaking her head. What kind of carelessness is this? Another neighbor muttered. God keeps giving children to people who don't even deserve it. Amanda's stomach twisted. She wanted to defend herself, to explain that she never meant for this to happen, that she loved Sophia more than anything in this world. But how could she explain leaving her baby in a taxi? Because she was too busy scrolling on her phone. Even she couldn't believe it. She turned to a group of young men standing by the roadside. Please, did any of you see the taxi that dropped me just now? A yellow taxi. The driver was a middle-aged man wearing a brown shirt. The men exchanged looks and shook their heads. Madam, this is Lagos. Many yellow taxis have passed since then. He could have been far away by now. Tears streamed down Amanda's face. What if she never saw Sophia again? What if the driver never realized a baby was in his car? What if someone, God forbid, kidnapped her baby before she could be found? A fresh wave of panic hit her. She turned and ran into the room, picked her phone, and ran outside. Where are you going? Someone called after her. The police station, Amanda shouted without looking back. Amanda ran as fast as her legs could carry her. Her slippers slapped against the pavement, barely keeping up with her frantic steps. Her breathing was uneven, her chest rising and falling rapidly, but she didn't care. She had one goal, to get to the police station and find her baby. Tears blurred her vision, but she didn't stop. When she reached the police station, she barged in, her voice trembling as she spoke. Please help me. My baby is missing. Several officers turned to look at her. A man in uniform stepped forward. Calm down, madam. What do you mean your baby is missing? Amanda struggled to catch her breath. I took a taxi home from market. My baby was with me, but when I got out, I forgot her inside. The officer frowned. You forgot your own child in a taxi? Amanda felt the weight of shame crush her chest. She knew how terrible it sounded, but there was no time for explanations. Yes, please, help me find her. Another officer sighed and shook his head. This is unbelievable. A female officer standing at the corner folded her arms. So, you were too busy with your phone to remember your own child? Do you realize what kind of danger you've put her in? Amanda's heart sank further. She didn't need their judgment. She already hated herself more than they ever could. Please, she whispered, her voice barely holding. I just want my baby back. The first officer cleared his throat. Do you remember anything about the taxi? The driver's face? The car's plate number? Amanda closed her eyes, trying to think, but her mind was blur. The only thing she could remember was the yellow color of the taxi and the driver's brown shirt. She shook her head slowly. I don't know. I didn't pay attention. The officers exchanged glances. This would be difficult, one of them said. There are thousands of yellow taxis in Lagos. But we have to try. Amanda cried. Please, just do anything. Please help me. The officers sighed, but one of them nodded. Let's put out a radio call. If any of our patrol teams spot a driver matching the description, they will stop him. Amanda clutched her chest, hope flickering in her heart. Thank you. Thank you so much. But as the officers made the call, doubts began to creep in. What if the driver had already picked up another passenger and left Sophia somewhere? What if someone else had taken her? The thought made her knees weak. She whispered a prayer, her voice shaking. God, please. I know I messed up. I know I was careless, but please let my baby be safe. Please, Lord. Time passed painfully slowly. Minutes felt like hours. The officers tried to trace any reports of an abandoned baby, but nothing came up. Amanda sat on a bench, gripping her hands together, eyes fixed on the station entrance, hoping, praying that someone would walk in with a baby, but no one did. The fear in her heart grew. Her baby was nowhere to be found. Amanda sat in the police station, her hands trembling in her lap. Her throat was dry, her heart hammering so hard it felt like it would burst through her ribs. Every second that passed felt like a dagger, digging deeper into her chest. The officers had made several calls, checking with patrol teams and nearby taxi parks, but nothing useful had come up. Her baby was still missing. Her mind replayed the moment she had stepped out of the taxi, scrolling on her phone, laughing at something on her screen. Her memory now felt like a cruel joke. How could she have been so foolish? She clutched her head, guilt clawing at her. What if she never saw Sophia again? What if some stranger had taken her baby? Tears filled her eyes again. She had seen the news. Children kidnapped and never found. Some sold, others used for rituals. No, she whispered. She couldn't allow herself to think like that. One of the officers, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, sighed and leaned back in his chair. Madam, are you sure you don't remember anything about the taxi? Any sticker on the dashboard, a scratch, anything at all? Amanda bit her lip, trying to dig into her memory, but everything was blurry. She had been so distracted. Her voice cracked. I just remember the driver wearing a brown shirt. The taxi was a regular yellow one. I don't remember anything else. Another officer shook his head. This is why people need to be more mindful. How can you enter a taxi without noting anything about it? Do you know how many yellow taxis are in Lagos? Thousands of them. Amanda flinched at his words. She already knew she had been careless, but hearing it from someone else made the pain sharper. I didn't mean to, she whispered. The female officer who had been watching her in silence exhaled loudly. Let's assume the driver is a decent man and he realizes a baby was left in his car. He might try to find the mother, but if he doesn't know where he dropped you, he may not know where to go. Amanda's stomach churned. That was the best case scenario. The worst case scenario was that someone had already taken Sophia and she was now in the hands of a stranger. She felt like she couldn't breathe. Another officer stood and adjusted his belt. I will check if we have any information from the market area. Maybe we can see the taxi she entered. Amanda's head snapped up. Yes, please. That might help. The officer left and she closed her eyes, whispering another prayer. Then she heard a sound, a ping, her phone, her live video. The realization hit her like a slap. She had been live when she realized Sophia was missing. People had heard her scream. People had seen her panic. People were watching. She scrambled to pick up her phone, her hands shaking as she unlocked it. The comments were still pouring in. So careless. How do you forget a whole baby? She deserved this. Always pressing phone. God should have given that child to someone who actually deserved her. The words made her feel like throwing up. But then, she saw something else. A comment from a random follower. A taxi driver was just seen at Oshodi, looking confused with a baby in his car. Could that be her baby? Amanda's body went cold. Oshodi. That wasn't too far. Her heart pounded as she looked up at the officers. Please, someone just commented that a driver is at Oshodi with a baby. We need to go there now, please. The officers jumped into action. One of them grabbed a radio and called a nearby patrol team. A yellow taxi at Oshodi with a baby inside. Confirm if you see anything suspicious. Amanda held her breath. Every second stretched endlessly. Then, after what felt like forever, the radio crackled. We have a taxi driver here. He's saying he found the baby in his car but didn't know what to do. Amanda gasped. Is she safe? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She's crying, but she's unharmed. Amanda broke down in tears. Her baby was alive. She was safe. But why hadn't the driver gone to the police since? And why had he been driving around with her all day? Something still didn't feel right. The moment Amanda heard that Sophia was safe, she felt her legs give way beneath her. She collapsed onto the chair, her body shaking with relief. Tears streamed down her face, but for the first time in hours, they weren't just from fear, they were from gratitude. "Can I see her, please? I need to see my baby," she begged. The officers wasted no time. They arranged for Amanda to be taken to Oshodi immediately. She rode in the back of a police van, gripping her hands tightly, whispering prayers as they sped through traffic. "God, please, let her be okay, please. Let her know I love her." By the time they arrived at the police outpost in Oshodi, it was already evening. The sky had begun to darken, street lights flickering on. Amanda jumped out of the van before it had even come to a full stop, her eyes darting around desperately. Then she saw her. An elderly woman was sitting on a wooden bench, gently rocking Sophia in her arms. The moment Sophia saw her mother, she let out a small whimper before bursting into loud cries. Amanda ran forward, sobbing as she reached for her baby. "Sophia, my baby, I'm so sorry." She clutched the baby tightly to her chest, her whole body shaking. The warmth of Sophia's small body, the sound of her cries, it was all Amanda needed to know that this nightmare was finally over. The elderly woman gave her a small smile. "She's okay, she's just hungry and tired." Amanda looked up at the woman, confused. "Where is the driver? What happened?" One of the officers pointed towards a man sitting a few feet away, looking anxious and unsure of himself. It was the taxi driver. Amanda's emotions were a whirlwind. Gratitude, confusion, and anger all mixed together. She turned towards him. "Why didn't you take her to the police station? Why were you driving around with her?" The man, clearly nervous, ran a hand over his head. "Madam, I swear, I had no bad intention. I didn't even know there was a baby in my car at first." Amanda's breath caught. The driver continued, his voice shaky. "I had picked up another passenger after dropping you off. It wasn't until the woman entered the car that she shouted, 'There's a baby here.' That was when I turned and saw your child sleeping in the back seat." Amanda's knees weakened. She had left Sophia behind, and for almost an hour, the baby had been in the car alone. "I panicked," the driver admitted. "I didn't know what to do. If I had driven to a police station immediately, they might have arrested me and accused me of kidnapping. These days, things like that happen, and I didn't want to be in trouble. I don't have anyone to bail me out if I get into trouble." Amanda understood his fear. The way society worked, he could have easily been labeled a kidnapper. "So, what did you do?" "I drove back to the area where I dropped you, hoping to find you, but you were gone. I kept asking people around, but nobody knew anything. I was scared. I didn't want any trouble." He glanced at the elderly woman. "I stopped at her shop to buy water for the baby, and when I explained my situation, she advised me to wait here. She said if the mother was looking for her child, she would eventually come here, or the police would find me." Amanda turned to the old woman. Thank you so much." The woman smiled. "You are lucky. Lagos is not safe. Another person might have taken your child and you may never have seen her again. You're just lucky this driver is a nice and God-fearing man." Amanda swallowed hard. She knew the woman was right. This could have ended very differently. Sophia could have been lost forever, all because of a careless mistake. One of the officers stepped forward. "We will take the driver's statement, but since there is no crime here, he is free to go." Amanda nodded. "I don't blame him. I blame myself." She turned to the driver, her voice full of regret. "I am so sorry, sir. I am very, very sorry. You didn't deserve the trouble I put you through. Thank you for keeping my baby safe." The man sighed in relief. "I am just glad she is back with you." Amanda held Sophia close, rocking her gently. She had almost lost the most important person in her life, all because of social media, because of a meaningless video she wanted to post. She had been so obsessed with her phone that she had forgotten what truly mattered. A week later, Amanda sat in her room, staring at her phone. She hadn't posted anything since the incident. Her live video had gone viral, with thousands of people commenting, some mocking her, others offering sympathy. Instead of responding to the hate, she recorded a new video. She looked straight into the camera, took a deep breath, and spoke from her heart. I almost lost my baby because I was too distracted by my phone. Social media is fun, but it can also be dangerous. Don't let it take away what truly matters. No trend is more important than real life. Learn from my mistake. She hit post and put the phone down. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't worried about likes or comments. She turned to Sophia, who was playing on the bed, and smiled. This is what matters. If you like this video, you will like the next one. Click to watch it now. I will see you in the next. Goodbye.